Welcome to Better Conversations with me, Sehaam Cyrene, giving you the words and the confidence for better conversations in leadership. That's what I do in each episode. I explore strategies and I love sharing questions and phrases for you to play around with and make your own. This recording happens live at Better Conversations on YouTube, so you might like to chat with me there and drop me a conversation challenge. I would like to spend today's session really getting into coach leadership, and I want to share with you what I believe to be the 7 signatures of coaching cultures. So I want you to think about coaching cultures or culture as its own entity. Stan Slap calls it its own organism. So it does what it needs to for its own survival. And the important reframe about that is that we can think about it differently. So if we put, as we do as leaders who coach, if we put the culture at the center of a situation, a problem, something we're trying to resolve, then we can actually come up with solutions or approaches that are in the interests of the culture. And obviously, people are the makeup of that culture, the DNA, if you like. I want to share with you a definition of coach leaders in that ecosystem. At Better Conversations, we talk about coach leaders being leaders who practice the skills of professional coaches for substantive impact daily. So from one meeting to the next. And let me just dive in a little bit more what I mean by substantive. Substantive is that it's done to a sufficient enough level to have an impact either on the individual, the situation, the team, and that is around things like productivity, accountability. The thing that we are always chasing and trying to get is accountability, and alongside that, ownership, emotional commitment to the task, to the project, to the team, to the organization, to the mission, and then growth of the individual, growth in terms of the capability of the team, and therefore the organization and what you can deliver externally, so both the individual and the organization and anything in between, right, as well as the ecosystem and what your community can do, whatever your community looks like, or how that's made up. Coaching cultures do have certain signatures, and I want to share those with you. There are many, but I've distilled it down to 7 because I think these create the impetus, or should be driving your strategy, your people strategy, if you are wanting to either maintain a coaching culture or you're wanting to shift towards, you're wanting to create some transformation within your organization towards a coaching culture. Let's get into the 7 signatures. First up is we want to be seeing that at least 60% of our leaders are exhibiting these coach leadership skills. And another sort of nuance here is it's not about being perfect. It's not about being coaches in the organization. It's about knowing when to use coaching skills effectively in conversations, whether that's a one-to-one meeting or a team meeting, whatever it is, to resolve issues and so on. I'll get into that in a moment. But at minimum, you need to have a majority of your leaders actively using, from one meeting to the next, their coach leadership skills to resolve issues, to delegate, to move things forward, to clarify, to get people unstuck, and so on. So the second signature of coaching cultures is that it is observable. in those meetings, in one-to-ones and team meetings. So the direct reports of those leaders are experiencing them and can actually say, yep, they helped me get unstuck, they helped me move forward. And then in team meetings, that there is a way that everyone gets heard and that the conversation is inclusive and that we move forward, we create momentum and accountability, and so on. They also need to be observable in situations where leaders are either negotiating or they are under enormous pressure. It's really easy to default to our typical behavior when we're under pressure. And when we are negotiating for things, which, to be fair, is most of the time. We're either asking for more resources, more money, more people, whatever that is. That's a negotiation. If I'm asking you to do something, or I'm delegating something to you, that's a negotiation. So, you know, and there are different risk profiles, obviously, in negotiations and under pressure situations. So we want to see that leaders are using their coach leadership skills in these tougher situations. Equally tough are those difficult conversations about performance. So we want to see leaders using their coaching skills confidently to get into those conversations around performance, understand what's going on, not do the finger pointing or taking over something, but actually being confident in their ability to hold that person at the center of the issue and the solution to help them move forward. So no longer seeing them as difficult conversations, but seeing them as really important conversations that are about getting to the who of the individual and how do we create that forward movement and ownership and so on. All right, a fifth signature here is that the coaching skills are being used in regular, not occasionally, not sometimes cancelled or often cancelled, one-to-one growth meetings, whether you have them monthly, every 2 months, 6 weeks, whatever the cadence is for you, that you are using, or that coach leaders are using their skills in the one-to-one growth meetings. And so that those meetings are happening consistently, the skills are being demonstrated consistently, and those growth meetings are happening in the way that they need to happen for the benefit of everyone in the organization. A sixth signature is that all your people processes reinforce these coach leader skills. So from the point of attracting talent to keeping talent, to upskilling, to transforming, whatever stage you're at with different parts, different functions, different teams and so on, your people processes, performance reviews, whatever you do needs to, whatever you have in place that is around progression for people and performance related or attracting the best people, those should definitely have coach leader skills somehow woven through. So whether those are skills that you're looking out for, how do you know that you're recruiting somebody who's got great skills or who's open to growing their coach leadership skills? And then what are you doing as an organization to support them so that they can deliver optimally for your team, for your organization, for the business, right? That's for sure something that needs to be in there, and that requires some effort. That's not an overnight thing. That's looking at all your different processes and prioritizing and thinking strategically about which one's going to deliver the biggest impact soonest, and then build from there. And then finally, the seventh signature is that the adoption of coach leadership skills is rewarded, is frictionless, and without stigma. Very often when we're bringing in a new style of operating, there'll be naysayers. There'll be people who don't believe in it and coaching's too soft. It doesn't deliver results. Not true. It really does, and it's not easy to do, which is why we have a program to train leaders to have those skills and know where the distinctions are. When are the times when I actually can be in as best a coach leader mode as I can be, and when are the times when I need to be directive and can still use coach leadership skills, so conversation skills and so on. But very often these are uncomfortable spaces for people. It needs to come from a very senior level, from the top, that we value these skills, they're important, and we're going to reward you. And we have a way of acknowledging and celebrating when someone has exhibited coach leadership skills in some very tough situations, and that there isn't a stigma attached to it. Those who are converted and are coach leaders, this is a beautiful thing. It's an incredibly empowering space for people to be, both as a leader and a direct report to a leader who coaches or coach leaders. Those are the 7 signatures of coaching cultures. And if you are interested to learn more, I'm just going to point you in the direction of some resources for yourself, both as a leader and as an organisation wanting to do more in this space. Very recently I did a webinar on coaching cultures, the business case. The 7 signatures that I shared today are from that, and I dive a lot deeper into that space. You are free to access that from our website. The link is there. And that goes into all the different elements. What do you need to do? How do you get buy-in? What are the important conditions and elements that you need in place to ensure that you've got great coaching cultures, or that you're moving in that direction? Also, just out, the Better Conversations rule book with 88, I'll say that again, 88 questions and phrases practiced daily by leaders who coach. And there are 10 rules. And for each rule, you'll find a selection of questions and phrases that you can practice and experiment with. We're all about experimentation. It's available as an ebook currently on Amazon. Check out promotions and so on, but if you're a Kindle Unlimited, it may be available there for free. So do check that out. Here's an example of what you can expect to see. In this situation, I'm talking here about how you socialize ideas and concepts and plans, and then contracting the phrases and questions you might want to use there. And I really encourage people to experiment, play around with it. These are suggestions to move you forward through, the different stages of a conversation. But I encourage you to make them your own. Use your own words, your own language for that. And if you want to take that even further, there is a free companion mini course with the rulebook focused on personal values and blind spots. These are 2 exercises that leaders who coach do when at the start of their journey with us, and they are really lovely, very grounding, simple exercises that you can do. We've got many organizations involved in this. This is free, so if you would like to do this for yourself, go ahead. It's all live and they're ready for the taking. If you want your team members to go on this journey with you, can do it as a team exercise, and support each other, create that accountability for each other to work through. There's a lovely 7-day personal values challenge as well that you can take, and a bunch of other resources, as well as a PDF of all 88 questions in the rulebook. That is the 7 signatures of coaching cultures. If you've got any questions, do let me know. Fantastic. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next week.